Hello, all, and welcome to the December 2nd meeting of the Arts and Cultural Commission of Norwalk. Quick roll call. Brian Casper, Chair, I am present. Danny Loftus George.
Present.
Thank you. Stephen Rust.
Here.
Thank you. Nori Gruden. Maybe.
I
see
saw
her.
her pop up before. She's unmuted. Maybe she's just having some trouble.
Do you hear
Okay.
me?
There we
Oh,
go.
there you are. Hi, Nori.
I have a new headset.
Well, it's connected now. Bob Abriola.
Present. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, great.
Janae Sylvester just joined. Hello.
Hello.
And we have Kevin Huffman, ex officio member.
Hey.
Great. First item on the agenda is approving minutes, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Has everybody had the chance? See if I can pull mine up quickly. I didn't have anything. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes, and are there any additions or corrections?
I was good with it, Brian.
Cool, thank you.
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Janae. Brian Gasser, vote aye. Janae Sylvester.
Aye.
Danny Loftus George.
Abstain.
Thank you. Bob Abriola.
Aye.
Thank you. Stephen Rust.
Aye.
And does Nori drop? Oh, Nori, wait. You keep moving around on my screen. I'm chasing you. Thank you. Ayes carry. Okay. New business. The meat on the bone here.
You missed public participation, Brian.
Oh, sorry. Public participation. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to address the commission?
If you want to speak, please just use the raise your hand function. If you're just here, then leave it down and we'll move on. All right.
Do we have anyone?
We have two people, but
Oh,
one's Heather Dunn. I assume she's listening in and
okay.
jump in if she needs. And then
Okay.
Abby Watkinson may just be watching.
Cool. Well, welcome, spectators. Okay. So then we're moving on to new business. The real meat of the bone here is, in case you haven't noticed, we have two guests, and we are here to endorse the arts and cultural plan for, for inclusion in the plan of conservation and development. I will let them jump in here and take it away. There's, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and what you've been working on. Martin and David are present, so go for it.
Great. So, good evening, everybody. Okay, hold on. There we go. So I'm Martin Cohen. I'm one of the partners with the Cultural Planning Group that's been working with you all in Norwalk for since the beginning of the calendar year or so, actually a little bit before that. So we're David and I are very glad to be here with you. Anyways, I'm Martin Cohen. David, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yes, David Pletner Saunders. Nice to see those of you that I know from the steering committee, and a pleasure to meet the rest of you on the commission. We look forward to tonight's discussion.
Great, thanks. We have what we thought we would do here. We've met most of you throughout the process and had a chance in various meetings to talk with you. Some of you are on the steering committee. But what David and I would like to do today is just to give you an introduction to the planning process, to give you an overview of what was occurred over the past several months, the arc of research that happened, and a summary of the findings. Essentially, what did we find? What did we read? What did we hear? What did we see, et cetera? And move that into an overview of the plan to give you a sense of to walk through on a high level without going into every single detail. And then we just have some questions for you and a chance to talk about it, and also answer your questions, give some thoughts before you actually go to your work, which is to then move to adopt it, as noted earlier. So I'd like to begin just to start with asking David to walk through some of the findings slides, and then we'll get into it. So David, I'll let you go from there.
Okay, thanks, Martin. So as many of you know, we started this planning process at the beginning of calendar 2025, so last January. We did extensive stakeholder engagement in April and July and in-person visits. You can see on the slide some of the detail of the interviews, discussion groups, and open community meetings and forums that we held. We also did an online community survey that garnered 390 survey responses, almost all residents of Norwalk. And the steering committee was very engaged. We met 3 times with the steering committee. There are 4 of you on the commission who were members of the steering committee. And as we told you at our last steering committee meeting, your fingerprints are all over this plan. The discussions were substantive and really helped inform many of the recommendations in the plan. Next slide, please. So we want to touch on some of the high-level findings from all of this engagement. You'll see there were key priorities that were identified that emerged throughout the process. Connectivity, connecting different areas within the Norwalk Arts District. Strengthening infrastructure. And this is both boosting the perception of clean and safe, but also maybe making the area cleaner and safer. Better lighting, parking, other infrastructure. Artist support emerged as an important priority, supporting the artists, arts organizations, and creative community that are located in the district. Also acknowledging and supporting historic preservation efforts. There's so many historic properties in the district. And this, the community was very aware that the district needs to have a strong management capacity to be effective and accomplish the many goals and aspirations set out for this district. Along with priorities, there were some creative tensions that were identified. The district is much larger than most other cultural districts. We'll talk about that in the benchmarking in a few minutes. So it introduces some challenges, but it also has some advantages as well. We all know that gentrification and development is taking place very rapidly in parts of the district. And there was a lot of discussion around balancing the positive effects of development with combating displacement and making sure that the creative community that's making the district so desirable is not forced out. And lastly, there's really a strong emphasis on the district reflecting and serving Norwalk, and Norwalk residents. Although there is an acknowledgement that one of the economic development objectives is to boost tourism, particularly regional tourism in Connecticut. Next slide, please. So we have a few slides from the survey that we conducted that have some really interesting results. Our first slide shows that a high percentage of people leave Norwalk for most of their arts and cultural attendance, but they at the same time want to attend more locally. So you can see 71% attend primarily outside Norwalk, but want to attend more in Norwalk. More than half hear only sometimes about arts and cultural opportunities that interest them in Norwalk, which highlights the challenge of marketing and promoting the arts that we heard throughout the process. Next slide, please. This slide shows strong community interest in all types of events and activities in the district, live performances, several different types of festivals, culturally specific celebrations, a monthly art walk, and so forth. So this shows demand for more activities locally, like in the previous slide. Next slide, please. This slide shows strong interest in different types of public art and street performers. The image is actually from the Edinburgh Festival, where Martin was earlier this year. The city actually has their busking, their street performer policies displayed on banners throughout their downtown cultural district. The next slide, please. We benchmarked 6 cultural districts in other U.S. cities. They were selected in conversations with staff and the steering committee for their aspirational qualities. So they all have one or more elements that Norwalk would like to emulate or learn from. You can see on the slide there's Boulder, Colorado, Fort Worth, Texas, Knoxville, Tennessee, where I understand there is an election today, New Orleans, Philadelphia, and Portland, Maine. Next slide, please. And there were some clear lessons from this benchmarking. A few slides ago, we talked about stakeholders' interest in strong management capabilities for the district. And that was indeed one of the lessons learned, that stable funding and professional management, having real capacity to implement a plan and make a district vital is necessary. Also, consistent year-round programming, varied programming, diverse programming, but consistent with an ongoing level of activation that people can count on. Now, the 4th bullet says compact geography. The classic definition of a successful arts and cultural district is compact and walkable, which is the opposite of Norwalk's arts district. But moving on to what Norwalk can leverage, there are advantages to having a large area. Martin, in a few minutes, will talk more about the possibility of a business improvement district or special services district. The large area is definitely an advantage in that respect. Also, it includes a large number of residents, which are another great resource that helps distinguish the Norwalk Arts District. We talked about the importance of focusing on the creative community. This commission is filled with creatives and creative businesses, nonprofit organizations, artists, creatives. So you are the creative community that is such an important asset for this district. Also, historic property, the maritime heritage, the cultural diversity of Norwalk, particularly in comparison with your neighboring cities. And again, the large population of residents. In fact, that's really a distinguishing feature of the Norwalk Arts District, having so many people who live in the district as opposed to attracting residents from outside the district to come downtown. And let's see, next slide, please. And we are now moving on to the actual plan itself, and I'll pass the baton to Martin.
Great, thank you, David. And by the way, so at the end of this, we'll have a chance to answer questions and have more of an active conversation here. We'll just spend a few more minutes here giving you a high-level overview. So one of the first things that we looked at as we were developing the plan was thinking about identity and character. So throughout the process, one of the strongest themes that came through as a major issue to consider is what is the identity and character of Norwalk and of the district itself. Some of these things David just touched on, both as advantages and challenges in thinking about the size of the district. But sort of the authenticity. We have authentic post-industrial character here, but sort of the authenticity of the community was something that we heard a lot about. This showed up in the survey in various ways, and it was a constant theme that really, and I would say, manifested itself also through a fair amount of pride in the community and a sense of ownership. And so that authenticity in where we've come from and sort of what the nature of the place is. This reiterates some of what David just talked about, but the diversity is really seen as a strength. That even within the district and within the, because of the large geography of the district, you have you go one block and you go from new condos to an area that's, arts facilities to another, and you get under the freeway and you get into Sono and you get into much different kinds of, so almost block by block. And that's one kind of diversity. You also have the diversity of kind of arts and creative activities and businesses and artists and creatives that are happening throughout the district, as well as the population and the resident population across different parts of that. So, and of course, the Historic Foundation. And going back to that diversity issue as a strength, we see that the 3 sub-districts that we've identified as part of this, and when you have a chance to review the plan, we talk about the Wall Street area, we talk about obviously Sono, and in between we have the Waypoint district. So one way to be thinking about this as we approach the planning part of it, and you'll see as you go through the plan that we talk about thinking and approaching it as dividing it into 3 sub-districts that each have their own distinct identity and character, but as a whole, they're all part of all the Norwalk Arts District. So the other thing that we were testing throughout the engagement process was to understand what the stakeholders, what the community looks at, and what is their sense of core functions. And then we overlaid this with the benchmarking to look for those consistencies. And it really came down to these 5 things that you see here in front of you. Thinking about the connectivity and unification. This is particularly important because of the size of the district, because of the footprint. Marketing branding, these are common. Marketing and branding is a common function of an arts district wherever you go in the country, whether it's a cultural district, an arts district, or a hybrid of the two, an entertainment district. Marketing and branding is a primary function. And then there's a lot of sub-elements, if you will, around there, like creating wayfinding, creating identity, branding, and such like that, and then thinking about promotion. Artist support, thinking about, and this is in a sense an economic, ties deeply in with economic development. Those things are very closely related to each other. That artist support is thinking about whether it's funding, how can we, as a district, find ways to encourage artists, creative businesses, creative practices to help maintain the character, to give a richness to the district, and to bring ongoing life to the district as well. And that, again, ties in with the economic development piece that we see here, thinking about whether it's workforce, development and retention, whether it's thinking about business support and development. We see economic tools that are developed, economic development tools that are identified in the plan, and some of this is in the appendix, is thinking about utilizing different kinds of opportunity zone elements or the kinds of tools that exist in there to really think about how they can function as part of the arts district. And of course, in some ways, one could argue one of the largest pieces is the programming and activation. Bring the place to life. The buskers, I'm a big fan of buskers. I'm the one who stuck that sign in from Edinburgh just because I just thought it was so engaging. But if you go to lots of communities, buskers can bring a lot of life, street activation, street level activation, we should say. And there are a number of ways of thinking about that are outlined in the plan. Signature festival, developing at least one signature festival is something that's highlighted in the plan. Events, public art, etc. So these are all core functions that we see outlined. As we get into the strategies and the goals of the plan, these things are built into it. David, do you want to we have 2 quick slides here more about the survey, if you want to touch on these.
Yeah, so Martin really talked about what the functions of the Arts District should be, what we're recommending. And some of this flowed from the survey results. We asked the community a different version of that question. What should the district do? And, there's a lot of info on this slide, but like with the survey results about cultural activities and public art we looked at a few minutes ago, there were clear, consistent opinions from the survey respondents about what the Norwalk Arts District should do. In short, everything. Cleanliness and safety, promoting the arts and artists, promoting Norwalk artists, using art to connect neighborhoods, within the district, a cultural trail, etc. Next slide, please. This slide about catalyzing change is a little bit subtle. It asks what outcomes in the community, what results in the community people want to see from having an arts district. So this is a slightly different take on the last slide. Beautification, attracting businesses, entertaining residents, supporting artists and the creative community, celebrating cultural diversity, boosting tourism. So again, survey respondents and stakeholders kind of want the district to do everything, to take it on and to provide almost an unrestrained amount or scope of cultural activity. Okay, next slide, Martin, and I think I pass
Yeah.
back to you.
Yeah, so one of the key areas that we talk about in the plan is looking at the phases of development in activating the district and bringing it to life as an actual functioning, focused entity. So what we've recommended in the plan is thinking about it in a series of phases, beginning with the first phase, which is usually in the 1 to 3 years. This is a chance. I would think of this as an organizational phase. It's an opportunity, to begin to establish parameters, to begin to look at funding mechanisms, to engage dedicated staff that's focused on the branding, that's focused on the marketing and looking at activation and all those. Ultimately, within that first, there's if you look in the plan towards the appendix, there's a pretty detailed work plan, implementation plan that goes through each of these phases. So in that, you'll see the opportunity to think about how the City Business Development Tourism Department can be the initial managers of the process. They're the most likely to take on this function. They know the most about it. They're already engaged in business development and tourism development in the district, and they have many of the relationships. But one of the things that we would like to stress that is really important here to think about is that there is also a staff capacity issue. And we're saying this as the external consultants who are looking for, at the outside looking in, that the city needs to think seriously about the capacity and the expectations about what can be accomplished, and that there will be a need to bring in additional staff who are focused on building the functions of the district. And this begins to get into a second phase, in years 3 to 5, transitioning to developing a special services district. And the management and governance would then be folded in to a special services district or a BID, a business improvement district. And a business improvement district by design in the state of Connecticut would be appointed by the Common Council. They'd be an advisory structure, and they would oversee the finances of the district. They would be authorized to collect money from the landowners and the property owners within the district to begin to fund it, in a special services district. And as we noted, here again in management and governance, the immediate staffing, we do have some recommendations in there around an executive director, a marketing and a programming manager, and thinking about an advisory board for that transition period, that first 1 to 3 years until there's a special services district in place, that may be members of the current steering committee in an ongoing role, and identifying additional stakeholders in the district. And that may include, of course, members from the Arts and Culture Commission as well. So critical that we see in funding to begin to put this into place is the city making a commitment for startup funding, because there's no other means of bringing in revenue. And so, finding dollars that can be committed for a period of time to ratchet up through that first phase, whether it's funding staffing, some initial staffing, whether it's funding programming, maybe funding some of the planning work or the design work around wayfinding, around branding and a marketing plan, et cetera. And then a primary function would be to very quickly get into the process of developing a BID or an SSD through property assessment that would require property owner majority. I should mention here that we talked about in the assessment process or in the engagement process, we had very high level of engagement from property owners and a strong affirmation they would be looking to a bid to be a way to fund the district. So we did not see a lot of pushback. We did not see a lot of negative messaging from that. So we think that there's an opportunity to really move that forward. Throughout all that supplemental funding, whether it's city, other additional funding, grants, sponsorships, program revenue, memberships, et cetera. But again, that's about building the infrastructure to be able to do it. Just a couple more slides here. So that, again, that's at the heart of the plan, and really thinking it's a very detailed plan. It's 85 pages right now. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of research in there, but the plan in itself that we set out to provide for Norwalk is very detailed, step-by-step oriented, going through those phases and with a very detailed and extensive implementation plan to help you walk through that. So hopefully you've all had a chance to review it without going into all those details. And we wanted to open it up at this point for discussion. We did want to ask you, what resonates most in this plan. It says here draft, but we're at the point where it's moving from a draft plan to an adopted plan. So we'd just love to hear your thoughts, your questions, and as we move forward here. And then in terms of the role of the Arts and Culture Commission and the action step, we'll turn it back to you, Brian, when we get to that. So just like to open it up for questions and comments.
Thank you both.
I had
Team?
a few comments, Brian, if I could go
Yeah,
first.
have at it.
Great. So terrific presentation. Great job, guys. You probably said it in the beginning, but just remind me again, how many people were surveyed in the survey? That's question one. And then I have another comment that I wanted to make, just double checking on that. The survey quantity.
390 residents,
390.
almost all residents of the
Okay,
of the
got
city.
Got it. So one of the things I think is going to be important, because this is going to require funding, is what's the, I like to call ROI, like return on investment, right? So we understand like the benefit overall culturally, but driving kind of more in the economy, right? Maybe instead of people leaving Norwalk, they want to come in and move. Like, I just wonder if there's a component of this that'll show the benefit of the plan from a commercial standpoint to help with the funding, so that Common Council, whoever has to vote on this, can see they're investing the money, but there'll be a return commercially back from the plans.
Yes, so I would encourage you to to read through the various sections of the plan. In particular, there's quite an extensive section about an analysis of what we're calling the creative economy. There's a lot of data in there.
Got it.
And there's although we don't call it an advocacy section, there's information throughout that really talks about the benefits, and I think addresses what you're talking about. So I'm not going to engage you about them without getting into all the details that I think.
Yeah, no, I understand. So I just want to make sure that's covered, and it sounds like it is. So that's great, because at the end of the day, when there's investments needed, most people want to understand what the return on the investment will be. So as long as that's covered through, and of course I'll read through it when I get a chance. So thank you.
Great.
I have a similar question on that topic on return for investment. And could you go to the section you're referring to? Because I'm not sure I saw that.
The creative economy section?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second and I'll pull it up.
Oh, I also want to recognize that Mark Allen is on our call now. I'm sure he joined at some point through there. I just saw his face.
608.
For the minutes, there we go. 608, just
Okay.
behind.
Pardon me while I scroll through here to that section. So it starts on page 8. It's actually several pages. So it talks about, it gives you a sense of the economic vitality. We drew data using a platform called the Creative Vitality Suite. It looks at a series of what are called NAICS codes and SOC codes. And NAICS codes are industry codes, classifications, and SOC codes are standard occupational codes. So this looks at the people that are working in creative industries, that are working in creative functions, and what their earnings are. And the CVI, what's called the Creative Vitality Index, utilizes this platform nationally to look at how you compare to other places in the country. So, one would be the standard. Anything above that is a positive deviation. Anything below that is considered below deviation. So what you can see is that, Norwalk, again, this is 2023 data. Bureau of Labor, information that is utilized for this is notoriously lagging indicators. So the data that we had when we did all this work, it was through the 2023 data. 2024 data has actually just recently become available, although we don't have access to it at this point. But you can look here. And this gets into looking at what is the creative workforce, how many people are working in it. One of the things you can see is a lot of writers and authors, a lot of musicians and singers. Obviously, there's a lot of software developers. This is in the creative occupations. And then we can look at the creative industries, that are happening, and the number of people are there, the economic activity, the earnings that are happening in each of those. Again, I'm not going into all the details that are listed in here. And, it provides you a lot of information on the cultural nonprofit sector and the economic context for the Arts District. So is that helpful?
It is. I have to admit, I read this a while back, and but I'm just curious to go back to Bob's question. Is ROI directly addressed? Right. I understand that Norwalk has a lot of creative jobs, but is there an actual place where we have a projection if we implement the plan?
In economic impact projection?
Correct.
No, that was not. We did not include that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was not part of the charge. So, but again, this looks at the, sort of the conditions and the environment in which you're developing the district and what is a process, for managing and moving a district forward.
Understood. Thank you.
And Bob, you said you had another question?
No, that was it. So
Oh, okay.
I think that's an important part of this, though, Brian, because it feels like there'll be a fairly significant investment, and maybe we can further scope this out or try to, because it would be good to have like a bottom line number. It's a projection, it's an estimate, but like if we do all of this, there's all the cultural benefit and the arts benefit, and then there could be a commercial benefit and what that potentially could be. I think that'll help with getting a plan approved if we have something like that.
Mhm.
Russ, I think that's maybe what you were thinking, the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, we're not really in the position to charge them with more work, to be honest. Or Sabrina, am I mistaken?
No, we're not, but also at the same time, a lot of the things that you get out of what's in the implementation table isn't necessarily something that's going to show a bottom line dollar
Yeah.
benefit. A lot of it's community improvement, a lot of it's quality of life improvement, those kind of things. It's like there is a number for every person who visits a city, like ends up spending at least $36. Like you could potentially guesstimate that number, but it ends up becoming a lot of work for a bottom line dollar that doesn't tell the whole picture.
Right. Okay. Mark has his hand up.
Yeah, I was going to start a different point, but to Bob's point, thinking about how, just as one example, when Netflix came and filmed in my neighborhood one time, local businesses reported, in some cases like a 2,000% increase in business. And to me, there's definitely an ROI to this when you increase, arts activity in a commercial area. So how that, I don't, maybe there's no specific number that we could put into this plan, but I certainly think that there is something to be said for, the ROI that's going to come from this. So at least in terms of support for small businesses and support for the artists' economic impact on these artists. If that language is missing, I would certainly, think it should be included. That said, what I had wanted to talk about was I had written an email back at the end of October. What I felt was missing in the plan for me is something about direct community engagement as what I would see as a core function of the arts district. And, when we have done arts commissions in the past, meaning like public art, the public has a chance to weigh in when we as a commission go to vote. And it's at the very basically end of the process. And I feel that for this district to be successful, that there should be ongoing and regular community engagement between the managers of the district and definitely our surrounding neighborhoods and neighborhoods that are included that overlap with the district. Not to bring up a pain point, but with what we experienced with the Eli Avenue mural, the community on Eli Avenue, they didn't feel represented in the process, which is why we had such a huge turnout when ultimately the public got a chance to speak. It surprised me. I didn't see a lot of that coming, and I think it caught a lot of us off guard. But I think that if we had regular, ongoing community engagement, that we would be solving a lot of those problems before they become problems. I think that people want, art and government to be representational of their needs and concerns. And I just want to make sure that we're not, in our bubble of this arts district without, having regular and ongoing community engagement. And so I'd like to see that. To me, that feels like a core function of the district, to be engaging with the city of Norwalk as a whole. That's what I'd like to say.
Before I move to Kevin, David Martin, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, and we did address that, Mark. We did add a section in the version that you now, in this last version. So it's from what I can, it's on page 19 now, titled Community Engagement, and talks about the need for ongoing, emphasizing the need for ongoing engagement in the workings of the district, et cetera. So we did receive your feedback, and then we did add some of that back in there.
And
Okay, good. Thank
Mark,
you so much. I didn't know that.
Yeah, your email was really persuasive. We got other comments about talking about culture, not just arts. Anyway, I wanted to say we didn't just put in this one paragraph, but there are a number of mechanisms for community engagement. There's an advisory group that will probably draw on the existing steering committee. There are also recommendations for resident engagement on an ongoing basis, resident, groups that can definitely have input within those 3 sub areas. Also, as the public art program develops, it's another golden opportunity for community engagement around specific artworks. So I just wanted to say, this is another example of how the steering committee discussion and input really helped us sharpen the plan.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kevin.
First of all, I think it's a pretty comprehensive plan. I think you guys have put a lot of work into it. And, I think it's also good that you're looking to set up kind of a financial, infrastructure around this, to kind of give it some, ballast before it moves forward. I did want to say that probably, yes, just to echo what Mark and Bob was saying, that most likely people, this is a effuse, elusive idea that like you're going to build up the arts and it's going to result in kind of a more flourishing city. But I'm guessing that there must be examples from other cities. I did this in Pittsburgh many years ago, where the work was done and there was a serious change in the community and in the money that came into the community. So there must be some way to kind of at least demonstrate that. At least you mentioned a number of other cities in your program. Perhaps that's just an easy way to make that point whenever you present this to the city council, because I'm sure they're going to want to know how is this going to benefit Norwalk. And then the other thing I would just say, and this is just a feeling of, again, having gone through it and having spent a little time here in Norwalk trying to figure out the community here is trying to echo again what Mark was saying, to get it from the ground up, like that this, try not to take a top-down approach to this issue as well, that to build community support among the organizations and also among the people here, that there's a need for this. It's a somewhat, again, elusive idea for a lot of people in their daily lives, is where the arts fit into into their lives and how it makes their community better and richer in a lot of ways. So just again, trying to make sure that it kind of bubbles up from the ground up and is not only kind of a top-down approach. Excuse me, I'm not feeling well, but that's my point. So next.
David or Martin, do you want to say anything before I move to Danny?
Just one quick comment, which is, when we talk about looking at districts across the country, one of the things that is often talked about is, what is a successful district? And it's when people talk about, we trust that this is a place we want to go and just be, we don't actually know what's going on. We just want to go there and have the experience because it means something to us. And so it's Friday night at 4 o'clock, Friday evening at 4 o'clock. Let's just go on down to the Arts District and see what's going on. I'm sure we'll find a place to eat and there'll be things going on. So, I bring that up because I think in thinking about sort of both this issue of top down, versus bottom up, what we reflected here is really what we've heard from the community and in particular from the stakeholders across the district. I'll let David embellish this, but we didn't get anybody who was negative on the concept. In fact, there was a great deal of excitement. I think the one thing we saw more than anything is people didn't even know that an official district had been established, right? So, throughout, we'd say, there's a state designation for this district. Oh, what's that? And so, if nothing else, just the process of designing this plan or developing this plan was an advocacy effort of awareness to get people excited within the district and throughout the community that there's actually a district there, and it sort of sets the stage for it. So, and I think that engagement did provide that opportunity for that input. So, David, if you want to add to that?
No, I think you said it well.
Okay.
I know
Danny.
there were some other hands.
Hi, Martin and David. I think you did just a tremendous job on this. This is no easy task, and it's such great work. My takeaway, I think that's what you asked for, and what I digested from it. I think just first, an ROI is very clear, and the data is there from so many other cities who have done similar big overhauls of their arts and culture district and what that looks like. But I think the really interesting takeaway was what the public is interested in. I think that data is just so useful to us as a commission because we have a little bit of a budget now, and we've been figuring out where funding should go and how we should allocate and what that looks like moving forward. So to see those top three things on there in terms of festival and outdoor performance and temporary art. I mean, those are all things that we've had discussions about, but just seeing that backed up in data, because ultimately our purpose is to serve the city and its citizens. So to see that data was so helpful, and I think it gives us a really clear outline, in terms of this plan moving forward, and whoever steps into a position of leadership within the district, if that potentially comes to fruition, that the public is very clear what they want. And I think that data is just so tremendous. So that was really shocking to me. I think some of us have advocated that way or learned, or been trying to figure it out. So that was just really, really, really helpful. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, Danny, we agree with you that there were such clear messages from the community, both the stakeholders and the survey. People are hungry. It's almost a build it and they will come market for arts and cultural activities and community building activities, things that just bring people together in Norwalk.
Totally. And I know very little about fine and visual art, and compared to my peers here who are quite versed there. But what I found very interesting, and I think maybe it's a credit to the commission, is that murals, what were on the lower end of what people wanted. And that's perhaps because the commission has done such a tremendous job at putting murals in so many places in the city, where, temporary art is something we've really just started to discuss. And it's not something that, we've really worked on. So, we've had these discussions before. I'm sure we will continue to discuss and digest after this, but I thought that was really interesting, that is what the public is interested in as well. I also think that, there is something that ties us to other municipalities, and puts us at a certain level or standard or excitement for the public when they see, oh, there's this temporary art installment that came from this area. We've seen this time and time again, whether it's, science with the bodies exhibit or the cows, right, or whatever it may be. There is already a publicity that exists and an excitement there, and we've seen a proven ROI there. So that's really exciting, and I think checks a lot of boxes for us as a district.
Yeah, the temporary one surprised me as well, Danny. I was like, wait, the question always comes up is how long is this going to last? I was like, y'all want temporary art all of a sudden?
What? I think especially in culture now, the immediacy of things after COVID, it's just so interesting how people digest and ingest art and what that looks like. So, it surprised me, but I'm so on board with it. That really excites me. I think it keeps the city moving and growing too, which I love.
So, it would encourage you to think about temporary public art as more than just objects or, something that's sitting there for, it's about experience, how people experience the place. So it could be something that's much more active. It could be something also that is, observational. It could be something, whether it's murals, whether it's something that's up for engaging for, 5 days and then it's there and then it's gone. I mean, so temporary has a very wide range of the kinds of things that you can do and thinking about what it brings, and it's more than just activation. It's about bringing a certain kind of life, and it's really thinking about how people experience the place. There is a section in the appendix that is very extensive with a lot of ways of thinking about that, the kinds of budgets that would need to be thought about. Some of them are very low budget. It doesn't, I mean, it's great to have lots of money to do those things, but there's also ways to say, what's some great starting points and how we can get there.
Yeah. Stephen.
Hello. There was a lot of discussion in the report about, geographical area, and you've mentioned it again today about the size of the district. And I don't know if it's even possible at this point, but are you in some ways recommending we should reconsider that size? I don't know if it can be changed, Sabrina, but should we be looking at that?
So it can't be changed. It's what the state has approved at this point. But their suggestion is to kind of brand the 3 neighborhoods separately while under one umbrella. So we're not looking to make Wall Street and South Norwalk and West Avenue look like one place. It's more like 3 different districts within a place where you can go for entertainment, essentially, and arts and culture.
And
Okay.
Sabine, if I can jump in, there was really nothing, as far as I understood about the state law, is that you could have more than one cultural district within a city. There wasn't really like a limit on that.
Yes,
But
and
we
I
don't
think
want to
from
just
a
have 3 independent districts. We want to have one cohesive district. So I love the idea of the sub-districts. For many people, there was a time when Wall Street was considered the arts district. Somebody had designated as such and even paid to put up flags. And then I was shocked at the time to learn that it wasn't the arts district, and had always pushed for that in Wall Street. But when the plan was created for it to include Waypoint and South Norwalk, you know what? I got on board with that right away, because I realized that, if it was only Wall Street, then the Norwalk Art Place wouldn't be included in that, and that makes no sense. And then you got the West Avenue mural, and then you have South Norwalk, which has a ton of art and businesses and installations. So to me, it makes perfect sense. I know it is really big, and maybe it isn't walkable. It is for me, but maybe not for some people. But I think it's fantastic. I don't have a problem with the size.
This is there were recommendations about, how does it get connected, right? And that is, I'm sure, a challenging part. I mean, is there more that you can talk about as how we can work on that connecting, or is that like the next phase?
No, we grappled with that pretty thoroughly. Stephen, just to let you know, we made a run at Sabrina to try and break the district up early on in the process, but
Okay.
the city's pretty firm about the big geography. So as we said in the presentation, there are some advantages to having a big geography, and there are ways to connect districts. And we looked at that in the benchmarking. And, for example, in the Philadelphia district, it's a very long, narrow corridor, but it's over a mile long. So it isn't really compact and walkable, particularly in the wintertime. So they've been very ingenious about activating. It's also a district that has a lot of residents and an increasing number of residents who live along the Avenue of the Arts. And they've used their resident support groups to help connect parts of the district. So there are tools in there. They're described in the plan. And we think we've come around to the point of view that there's just a lot of opportunity for Norwalk to do things differently. The river trail, the cultural trail, is another opportunity to make connections that will bring together all 3 areas, sub areas of the district.
I'm glad, actually, you reminded me about one thing I didn't note, but the idea of the river itself, and is there any possibility of, connecting people on river travel, right? From one point to the next, duck boats or something, right?
I just want to jump in for Stephen. One of the things that we talked about, there was this meeting at the South Sono Mall for this other part of Norwalk government that's talking about the connectivity, reuniting South Norwalk to Wall Street. And if you think about it, our city was essentially cut in half when 95 came up the middle of it. And it's
and another third when Super 7 was put in, right?
But if you think about it, you have the one end of the West Avenue mural, you have the Sono Mall, and there's a ton of art there. The other end, you have Norwalk Art Space. And then you have so between those 2 areas where you have the West Avenue mural, you have the makings of a tremendous art trail, and right in the middle there's an art park. There's not a lot of art there, but there is at least a one statue now across from the West Avenue mural.
And Oyster Shell and Matthews Park on sort of adjacent to those places too.
So we have the bones there for a walkable art trail that will effectively reconnect South Norwalk and Wall Street. And if the arts is the means of connecting people, then
There you
I
go.
think that's a win-win.
Well said.
You know,
Others?
I'd just like to
Yeah,
reiterate
sorry.
something that Mark just said, which is, you have really good, not just bones, you have really good bones. It's, God strong. They're not mummified bones, right? They're, to take it too far here, but you have the elements that exist in and through, and I think when you think about the whole sub-districts, there's such a distinct character for each of the three areas that is a great advantage that can really be taken advantage of. That if you think about from a promotional standpoint and a branding and creating a sense of ownership, one is you have three distinct areas where you can create each of those having their own sense of ownership. But from a community standpoint, it's like I can go down the district and boy, look at all the different kinds of experiences that I can have by just going 2 blocks further south or further north. And it, there are connectivity issues, and there's some barriers when you think about getting across or underneath, I-95. But there's a lot of things in place to try to go around that, whether it's the river trail, the making it more pleasant to walk through, from south to north through that, whether it's the murals right now, and it's becoming a more accessible kind of space. So I'm building on those really is a great opportunity.
Don't forget about the cultural aspect of the transfer station in the middle of it.
Yes, coming transit station, exactly. Mhm.
Anyone else have questions, comments? Yeah, I definitely see the work you guys are doing. It's and having the pleasure of been in meetings with you. It's been great to see. I think the thing that's Norwalk has long been lacking is some sort of North Star for all this structure, this level of detail with structure and a plan is exactly, I think, what we need. The commission, we're all volunteers. We love it that much that we'll show up here every month and hammer it out, and pull our hair out about having more to all of this. And this is, I hope, the very first step in a long series of steps that will get us there. And the fact that you brought up the business improvement district ideas and these things that I see other cities doing, and that hopefully this focused spotlight that you've put on this will resonate to as we sort of climb the ladder here and get sign off. So yeah, I'm excited to see all of this. It shows that like the work that we've been putting forth for years, some of us longer than others, but all of us committed, is growing some legs. So Sabrina, so I think what our next step is to sort of officially like put our very well-designed stamp on this.
Yes.
And vote on that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well then in that case, do I have a motion
I motion to approve this plan.
endorse, I think is the correct word.
I second
But
that.
yes, thank you, Danny. We'll do vote by roll call. Mark Allen.
Aye.
Thank you, Janae Sylvester.
Aye.
Thank you, Stephen Rust.
Aye.
Thank you, Stephen. Danny Loftus George.
Aye.
Nori Gruden. New headset Nori. We'll come back. Bob Abriola.
Hi.
Say that again, Nori.
Aye.
Thank you. And Brian Casper, I vote aye. The ayes carry unanimously. Very excited to see this move on to the next step. Thank you both.
Sabrina, what's the next step for this?
The next step is that it'll go to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their stamp on it, and then it'll go to Economic Community Development, and then it'll go to council.
And this will all be in the new year, do you think?
Yes.
Sabrina, is there a number that we are requesting, or is council going to talk about that and vote on that for the next year's budget?
Next year's budget is going up. Like now we have to have it due by tomorrow. It's essentially just what it was. The plan won't be approved by that point.
So, but council is going to set the budget for this, I imagine, or are we requesting a certain amount?
No, there's like implementation measures associated with it that'll be amended into the plan of conservation and development, and that's when we put the requests in.
But we are the ones to put the request in?
Yes.
Okay. And this will be the new council then, voting this in, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Next up, we have the 2026 events discussion.
So we're going to leave you and let you
Yes.
continue your business.
Thank you both.
So
Sorry, I
thank you,
forgot to thank
everybody.
you for being
Good
here
night,
and taking the
Martin and
time.
David. Take care. Thank you.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you,
all.
everyone. Thank you.
All right. And I'm assuming that these events are going to fall squarely into Janae's lap. But I'm assuming it's maybe a tag team effort with Janae and Sabrina. So I'll let two of you take it away.
Yeah, I think this was a request from me. I will keep it brief as I know it's already 7 o'clock. But I think basically I would say I think a good goal for us for next year would be to try to do like one event that we are kind of putting forth next year per quarter, was what I thought. And so, as a part of that effort, really the goal is just if anyone is interested in raising their hand to help kind of lead what that will be. I think going into the beginning of the year, I had sent the thought to Sabrina and Brian about potentially doing kind of like a reintroduction to the Arts and Culture Commission. I think kind of coming off of some of the recent events that have happened, I think it would be a good thing. And it doesn't necessarily, it can be open to the public, but it could be more about engaging just local organizations in terms of, again, reminding them who we are, what we do, maybe sharing some background on some of the projects that we've done and opportunities to partner with them. So it may be less, I think, in the past we've been doing more like networking focus. So maybe it would be more like there would be a presentation component to it, I think, more so maybe than in the past. So again, this is just an idea that I had pitched to them, but that's something that, again, if someone is willing, they can take and run with. We did last year the Make Music Day, and I think in the past we've been involved. So that was something that I figured maybe is an opportunity for Q2. And then Q3 and Q4 are open for interpretation. So just wanted to put that on everyone's radar. And if anybody is willing to kind of help or take on leadership for what those events look like, would love your.
I would love to, love to, love to, love to. I'd love to be
yeah.
involved in any way there.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I think I've long wanted to revitalize the Art Speak panel discussion thing. So I know Mark has interest in that too. I think, and having those discussions, it's just a different kind of vibe, a different event. It's not just networking. We can definitely do organization focus and maybe get, a conversation with Duvian Montoya or something, or whoever it is with those, and just like have a 45-minute chat and then a little hour mingle. So I'd be happy to jump in on one of those in any quarter, but maybe fall or winter would be good to have some time to start planning it.
I like your idea of bringing the organizations together, because I think it'd be really great to have everybody in one room and just get a general feel for it, like what, nonprofit arts organizations are here.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. And now we have a little event budget, so we can actually do these things.
Okay. So Danny, I will definitely take you up on that, and Brian, Q3 or Q4.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mark, I don't know if I guess, are you still the lead of Make Music Day? I'm happy to help.
I am not the lead of Make Music Day. That's Sabrina now.
Oh.
No, I'm hoping it's going to be more of a committee. Anna, I hope working with Sabrina will be hopefully,
Yeah,
really,
so Anna has been attending like all the meetings for it at the national level and keeping plugged in with that stuff. I have been as well when I can make it, so it's working fine. I think when we start gearing up for the actual event, it'll be kind of a group effort, so we're not all kind of dispersed. I think they have a lot of resources available that we didn't really know at the start of this, so it'll be good to kind of get some of their equipment down here and like all that other stuff for people who want to participate.
Cool. So yeah, I'm
Nice.
happy to help and be I don't know, the commission liaison on that front. And then Danny, I guess whichever, if you want to take the Q1 or do
Yeah.
something new.
Listen, I just heard so much data from that Arts and Culture Commission that said we want outdoor, we want festival.
Yeah.
I mean, hello, we know what the public wants. Let's do it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Especially if we have a resource. Like I've been waiting for something like this. So I am really excited about that.
Cool.
You know, Danny, I'd love to see that scheduled in line with your school year. 'Cause we've had so many events where we were like, hey, we'd love to have your students involved. And you're like, it's just outside of like when my year ended or when we're in summer break and things like that. So if there's like a chance to involve like singers, dancers, actors, you know, not just, you know, painters, you know.
Yeah, we have a lot up our sleeve coming up for
Love it.
this next year. Some big exciting things happening
I
and
love it.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely, I mean, look, ultimately, that data just has sent me over the edge to go, wow, this is what people want, right? Like our
Cool.
job is to give the people what they want. So let's do it, right? Like let's make something amazing here. That's a signature event like the Oyster Fest is. I love the Oyster Fest, no tea, no shade. I love a ride. I love an oyster, but like,
Yeah.
you know, like let's do it for the arts, baby. Like let's make it happen. So
Totally. You know, I used to use the hashtag City of the Arts all the time in my social media. I always like wanted Norwalk to become like, you know, I used to say we're the City of the Arts of Connecticut, and then, you know, no disrespect to Bridgeport or whatever, but you know, I would love to see a really comprehensive arts festival for the city of Norwalk that represents, you know, not just, you know, like the Oyster Festival. I mean, we have such a tremendous diversity of arts here. It's incredible.
I've been slowly whittling down David Genovese of Baywater Properties to let us take over his like industrial park at the bottom of the arts district, and he's nearly there. And it's its own self-contained thing. It's basically its own alley. We could do
That would be great.
It's all just there are 25 white cinder block walls. And then we had believe me, I'm getting there with him. He's just a very busy man.
Where is that? Where is that?
You know, directly right where Wilson Artist Lofts are. You know,
Yeah.
that building. It's that whole complex of buildings. So on the Mark Catering, there's a glass company and some equipment thing. There's a beverage distributor. There's like basically its own self-contained street. It's all private property, but it'd be we don't have like alleys and streets like that. So it is itself like just such, and he's such a supporter, and the Wilson Avenue Artist Loft is right there. So, and have it change every year. Anyway, getting there.
yeah, I also think look, we've got an award-winning filmmaker literally here on the commission, right? Like Kevin makes documentaries. Why aren't we doing something there with the Film Fest, with Sono Arts Fest? Maybe we can roll them together in some way and do some big festival, because Sono Arts Fest gets real serious numbers. You know, I mean, every year is different, but right, like they get numbers there. The film festival gets numbers. Like if we're combining forces, you know, it's the same thing when a Chick-fil-A opens across from a Popeyes. Like it doesn't hurt. It just makes, you know, more people eat chicken. So come on.
I will say that Sabrina and I did attempt this past year to engage Susan of the Sono Arts Fest to sort of pair with us in a way, and it sort of fell on deaf ears for one reason or another. Who knows why? She made it kind of clear that she doesn't really want us
You know why?
involved.
Because she's running it as a for-profit business, and that's why. You know, for her, it's a money-making center for her. That's what it is.
Yeah, but you know what? I think between this commission, we know enough people that we can definitely do another arts fest. You know, we can make a yard sign too. So you know, let's make it happen.
Now the shade has been thrown.
Well, what can I say? But let's do it.
That's a Sono Arts Festival. And, you know, why can't we have a Norwalk Arts Festival that, you know, it doesn't even need to be in one specific spot. It could be in the Arts District, and it could be comprised of several components.
I didn't want to say anything during the presentation, but, you know, there's actually a whole new neighborhood that's, you know, developed right around where the old YMCA is. I mean, there
Mm,
must be at least like 10,000 people who live there now.
yeah,
That is not really a defined neighborhood if
Oh,
they
that's
want to call
Waypoint.
it Waypoint or
That is
whatever.
Waypoint.
Waypoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But there's just so many new people who've moved there, and I've asked this question like multiple times to every politician that I've ever met, like, who are these people? Like, who are they? Like, a lot of them are new to Norwalk.
There we go.
We don't know who they are. I've never gotten a straight answer out of them, but
Do you know what? I
um,
actually have a lot of them who work at the conservatory. A lot of them are very young. They're New York City transplants. And like,
that's awesome.
yeah,
Well, there you go.
so
They
I
have
know a
public
number of
space.
them. Yeah, and I mean,
That's
look, Lockwood Matthews is right there as well. That
Yeah.
gotcha.
park is so ideal for public performance.
Right.
Yeah,
Dealing with the mansion is not the easiest situation, but it is what that is, a city building, so it is what it is.
we'll
But
get them there.
that right, and it's poised so perfectly for what the people are asking for outdoor performance. It's right, in the middle of this arts and culture district.
Right.
Right.
I just think there's
True.
so much opportunity there.
Yeah. All right. Well, I
I
hope
agree.
we can take all of this energy. Janae is, I
Right
don't know if
into
I've ever seen a bigger
2020.
smile on
Yeah,
Janae's face.
I should tell you, I also bought the domain Norwalk Concerts 3 years ago. So, I haven't done anything with it, but I can totally give it to the commission so we can build something there.
There we go. Nice.
Okay.
I
And
just
this
thought
is
one day this will be useful. So why not purchase it?
That's what I did. That's how I bought Norwalk Film Festival, and then I gifted
Yeah.
it to the film festival.
Yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's offline with some folk, Janae. Let's keep these conversations moving.
sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you.
And
can I
Um,
just ask one thing? I'm
yeah.
curious about one thing, and this was in that report, but Waypoint, isn't that a commercial name by one developer?
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I don't
And
think
so,
it's a neighborhood. It's not like designated as a neighborhood or anything.
Let's change it.
right.
Let's change it right now.
Thanks, Casper. Let's call it Casper.
There you go. In namesake. Okay, cool. All right, next is the review of the merchandise competition. Is this the thing with the radio station, Sabrina, right?
I think it's the merch contest. Hold on. Yes. Um,
With Brad, where's Brad been, by the way?
I don't know. No, this is me.
Oh,
It's actually me. Um, so this is, sorry, I'm off camera, but if you can't tell, I'm like really freaking sick. So
you sound great.
I know
Me
it's been
too.
a
It's going around.
I always get sick this time of year, and I always blame it on my niece and nephew because they go to school and they're gross. So that's why I
Peyton always
get
gets sick this time of year, and it's always on my birthday. She's always deathly sick on my birthday.
Gotta love it. So as you guys know, a long while ago, we developed the I Heart Norwalk logo that's literally everywhere now. And we made merch that was very boring and was kind of just the I Heart Norwalk logo on like a gray sweatshirt or a gray t-shirt or a hat or a koozie. And we've since run out of all of that stuff. So we wanted to do something
Nice.
that was a little more unique and exciting and that could hopefully make us a return on the investment, but also make us some cash. So we decided that it might be a cool idea to do a local design competition, where people can submit multiple designs for multiple pieces of merchandise, and then we would, pick a couple of them or one of them, depending how we're feeling going forward, and then make that merchandise and be able to sell it essentially. So the winner of the competition would be gifted an award amount that's to be decided, and then also get their free merch and all of that exciting stuff going forward. So we thought this would be a cool way, rather than just us popping a logo on a shirt and selling it, to let our local artists kind of be super creative, whether you're a kid or, a teenager or an adult or a senior, whoever you are, you could submit a design and then we can create something cool for it. So that's just really what it is. I included the competition kind of document that I created, and we have an online survey that we're going to release on the first of the year. But I just wanted to, you know, let you guys know that it's happening and it's exciting, and you guys will hopefully be involved in the selection of moving forward. And yeah, so that's that. That's that part of the agenda.
Just something to keep in mind. Wegmans obviously is selling a lot of Norwalk merch. So we should just be aware that, whatever we're selling is very different from theirs.
Yes,
Or
and I
better.
think we kind of copied the idea from New London. They have a cultural district as well, and they have a little storefront that they sell local artist merchandise out of. It's a bunch of different things, but they have a lot of New London-esque versions of merch and t-shirts and whatever you could think of that they sell out of there, and they're really cool. Like I bought one and I don't even, I don't identify with New London, but the design was cool, so I bought it. Um, so I think there's opportunity here to showcase some of our local talent, but also have some cool designs available. So yeah.
And I nominate Bob to be a part of this too, with his design
Yay.
background.
Anybody who's wants to help, feel free to.
No
Yeah, I
way,
wanna- Thanks, Brian. If I could be a part of that and whatever, I don't want to say advise, consult, but just be part of it somehow, would love to. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll
Cool.
release
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
We'll release the application around the 1st, and then we'll have it advertised and put up for a month or so, and then we'll hopefully get designs in, and then we can go from there.
Great.
All right.
Do we have it here that art designs are not acceptable?
We do. We do.
Good, good.
Okay. Moving on the agenda here, we're getting at 7:15. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I think the next is to approve a sponsorship of the CT TV Fest. Is that the official title there, Kevin?
It is, yes.
Part of the Norwalk Film Festival. I'll let Kevin chat about this a little bit.
I'll try to keep it brief. A while ago, I went to an event in Stamford. It was an industry event, TV industry event, and there were like 250 people there. I looked around and thought, who are these people? They should be in some ways recognized. They don't have any kind of event that really shines a light on what they do. So I reached out to the Bridgeport Film Festival and also Launchpad, which, if you're not familiar with them, they are a workforce development nonprofit organization based in Stamford. And we put our heads together and said, why not have a Connecticut Television Festival? It's never been done before. And the general idea is to shine a light on the workers who, create the product here in Connecticut. So anybody from a cameraman to a sound person, archivist, you name it. And then we would have a group of 4 workshops. And so 3 of them are for mid-career development. And the 4th is with the Launchpad, which is a PA workshop. It's going to be run by a woman from Netflix. So, and then we decided that the best place to do it would be in Norwalk because it's centrally located between Bridgeport and Stamford. So we're going to do it in 2 locations, Space 67, our favorite place, and Lot 48, which is their new building, Catacorner across the street, which is the old bank building. It's going to be on January 24th. The workshops are going to be during the day. And then in the evening, we're going to have an awards ceremony. We're really looking forward to it. The state film office has already given us a grant in order to make it, or they're sponsoring it for us, which has also been very helpful. It's, again, never been done before. We feel like it's time, and we feel like Norwalk is the best place for it. And all nominations are free. So if you have somebody that you know who's worked on a television program and done amazing work, or a great web series or something like that debuted in 2025, nominate them. We have some really fun awards, and so that's it. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I think it's going to be a fun event.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Kevin?
Is it free to attend the event, Kevin?
No, It's not free to attend the event. We have different pricing. We have pricing for the students who are going to be doing the workshop. It's going to be $40 to attend the event for anybody, for the members of the public. Less, I think it's $30 or a little less money for the students themselves. The workshops are also affordable. They're only $25, which I think, in the sort of landscape of people who do professional workshops. And these are really hands-on workshops. Like one of the workshops is sort of how to tell a story in 60 seconds. And we're going to be working with a nonprofit organization to be named, where essentially they'll come in and we'll have a team of young professionals who are going to tackle, putting together a 60-second documentary, for lack of a better word, about their nonprofit. Another workshop is going to be kind of tackling a social issue that's of major concern in the state of Connecticut. Put people in a room, essentially workshop a story idea, and walk out of that room with a functional plan to say, okay, you want to do a documentary about immigration reform? Here you go. These are the points that you want to cover. So it's that kind of thing. So, but no, it's not free. Sorry.
Okay, and what's the name of the organization that's running it? And is that organization a nonprofit?
It's the Norwalk. There are three nonprofit organizations. It's the Norwalk Film Festival, Bridgeport Film Fest, and Launchpad. But the Norwalk Film Festival is the fiduciary. So the money's coming through the film festival.
Awesome. And they are a 501, right?
Correct. Yes.
And
sorry, what's the ask, Kevin?
We're asking for $5,000. Our budget is approximately $15,000. Like I said, we've gotten 5,000. I didn't say that, but we've got $5,000 from the state. So I would like for the city, or I shouldn't say we would like for the city to match that amount.
And what's that money going to go to?
The money will go to staging, the catering, obviously, and basically support for building the workshops and building out, what we have happening during the day, and then any kind of, staging. We're not really paying anyone like specifically to come to be an MC or anything like that. Lighting, technical support, that kind of thing. And then also renting out those two spaces. And they're being really good with us, but they have staff that Space 67 and Lot 48 that they need to pay.
Yeah, a couple things there. One is I have spaces right there. I'm happy. I love this. I think this is so cool. I love supporting nonprofits. I'm happy to give you spaces for free instead. I don't mind that at all. I've got tons of venue space there. But I guess my question is, I understand the budget. It feels a little general. Whenever I hear an even number like 5,000 or 15,000, I go, that's not specific. I don't know how much is going to what person and what that looks like. Again, I appreciate, I love this event. I want to support it however I can. I think it's great. But again, the ask feels general. It doesn't feel like it's, very specific as to what exactly it would go to and what those costs exactly are.
You're right. It's essentially rent, staging, any type of advertising buy that we might have to, have in order to generate more ticket sales. But it primarily goes to and catering. That's the three big ones: rent, staging, catering.
Yeah, to Danny's point, I want to concur. First of all, I think it's a great idea, and I'd love for the Arts Commission to be involved. I think that we have to think about it in terms of our total budget.
Sure.
And how much of that 5,000 represents, to know if it's like affordable to us in the big picture, I guess you want to say. And then the other thing is that, to Danny's point, I think if there was a written proposal that kind of spelled out in more detail where the money's going, I think that might.
I did submit a written proposal. I sent that in to you, Sabrina, right? You've seen that?
It's in. Right.
Yeah, and it's in the package as well.
Okay.
I can bring it up if you want me to.
Have
Is
we,
there a line item budget in there?
No, I don't believe so. I'm happy to supply one for you, but I did not. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so I
Yeah, no,
apologize
I
for
totally
like
get
not
it.
having
So
all this together. But you know, we came up with a budget as an organization for what we feel like, you know, we can afford. And then, you know, we've been seeking sponsorship money from wherever.
right.
So my general idea was that the state is giving us 5,000, that I'd like the city to match that.
Right.
Sabrina, have we supported the Norwalk Film Festival in the past financially?
No, we just didn't have money in the past, to be
Yeah,
fair.
and I mean, Mark, you're bringing up past, and I feel like there was this moratorium on sponsoring, so to speak, these outside events. I feel like it came up initially with someone keep me honest here, with the Nice Festival maybe, and then the film festival. I feel like it was attempted, and then that's the one we sort of said, like, I don't think we should be doing this, because then we have to start picking. We don't
Right.
have the
Picking
money
and
to pick and
choosing.
choose.
Right.
And as a city entity, we don't have the money. Sorry, we don't have the money to say yes to everything, and we don't, and so therefore we have to start picking and choosing, and that starts to create this like weird hierarchy. Do I have this right, Sabrina, Mark? Someone
Yeah.
help me
Yes, you
remember
do.
this correctly. Okay.
Yes.
And so again, I concur with Danny and Mark, and I do love the film festival, but I feel like this starts to put us in that weird gray area where, I mean, we sort of already said no to Throwing Stone, in some capacity too.
We did, Brent. I think we did. I worked on application with Sabrina, and I edited quite a bit there. I don't know if that has to be revoted in, but we did work on that application process, you know, so that we could make sure that, you know, we are crossing T's and
Yeah,
dotting I's.
right. Which is yeah, and I guess that is what's here.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
is that something that
Oh,
we're
and
already hit on the agenda, or
and
is that
Kevin.
something that's already in place?
This is
I don't.
Kevin's application. I gave him
Oh,
the
let's see. It's got
updated
Kevin's.
version. But the approval of this actual process and application is on the agenda tonight.
Okay, so we're cart before the horse a little bit.
Yeah, Kevin, when is your event?
When is it? It's January 24th.
Okay, so we do have one more agenda meeting before this. You know, my recommendation, for what it's worth, I would say let's make sure that our process is approved, because this is just
Yeah.
there are amazing nonprofit organizations in our city. These are going to keep coming, right? So I think that our application process and policy has to be in effect before we keep approving these.
And Sabrina, you have the account noted on this, and this is coming from which of our accounts then?
It's the
It's
special
worth
events account.
special events. So this
Right.
is
I mean,
half.
my understanding is that you had a process, and I just submitted the application to that process, which I assume goes
Yeah.
to events like this. So am I the first one, or are we the first ones
Yeah,
to actually
technically,
submit? Oh,
which is why
well, there you
we're like,
go.
wait a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just was made aware of it. I think it was from the last meeting that you had posted that you had this application process. And so I thought our organization would be a good fit.
It's a great
Our event would be a good
Yeah, no
fit.
question there.
It's a great
Look,
fit.
we're
It's a
gonna
great
bring,
fit.
right.
It's really, for me, it's about how much money do we have per year in the special events budget to know
Sure.
how many festivals can we support at what the maximum sponsorship
Yeah.
that we can provide.
Yeah.
What's a fair amount that we can provide that we're not going to be giving it to one, and then we're done for the year.
Totally understandable. I think even a token amount would be much appreciated. Not gonna, obviously I'm gonna ask for $5,000, seemed like the right amount. But if that's the issue, if you want to reduce it, that's completely fine with us as well. We would just like to have the city on board to support something like this.
It sounds like potentially we're tabling this pending the approval of our processes.
Kevin, I would just ask that when this does come back around, if you this is just for me, right? But if you can be very specific as to exactly where the money is going and how much it's
Right.
going to what. So if it's catering, it's
I see.
$2,735.23, right?
Right.
Just some type
Right.
of
Yeah.
breakdown there,
Mhm.
because when we're dealing with city money, right, I want to be 100% sure that
Yeah.
our budget money is going to, exactly where we say it's going to go, and exactly what it is, so that we're aware.
Sure, sure. I think okay. I'm happy to do that. If you need it to be revised, let me know. I think I put that in there in the original one that I sent. But
Is there
yes,
in that form, do we ask for that kind of itemization?
I believe so, yes.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do.
Okay.
Sabrina, would the money for this festival be coming out of the current amount of
Yeah,
money that we have or
special
next
events.
year?
Yeah,
And
we
how much-
currently have around $15,000 left in that account for until July.
Until
It expires
July.
in July.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have, okay. All right, those are all good notes. I
Yeah.
think it's worth tabling it. Do I have a motion to table this until next agenda meeting?
A motion
I'll second.
You motion to
to
table
table.
or vote? Okay, thank you. And Mark, you're seconding that motion,
Yeah,
yes?
I'm generally in favor of this event,
Yeah.
but we'll vote to table it.
I'm as well,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
I want to support you any way I can. If we
Same.
can help with free space, we're happy to do that as well.
Okay.
All
All right.
good. All good. Yeah.
All right, motion
Thank
on
you.
the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephen Rust, how do you vote?
Aye.
To table. Thank you. Mark Allen,
Aye.
Janae Sylvester,
Aye.
Danny Loftus-George,
Aye.
Nori Gruden.
Aye.
Oh, Bob is still here. Bob
I'm
Abriola.
still here. I'm just waiting to vote and I got to drop.
Thank you, Bob. And Brian Kessler vote aye. All right, the ayes carry to table this. Yeah, Kevin, let's revisit this in January. Let us approve this process to, I think that dollar amount is worth noting that we have 15. So a third of our budget might be a tough ask just as
Yeah.
a advisory
Understood.
piece.
Yeah. Wasn't
Um,
sure what the budget was, but understood. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no,
Yeah,
and
all good.
again, you're the first, so thank
That's
you
right. I
for
specialize in that.
making us
That's
talk
it,
about
right,
it.
yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. So then now we're into old business, right into it to adopt and approve the Arts and Cultural Commission partnership guidelines and application. Danny, sounds like you've put a lot of work into this, so do you want to give it a little introduction here, a little
Yeah,
chat?
sure. Do you know, if I'm being honest, Sabrina really is the queen as per usual.
Okay.
And created a lot of this. I really went in and provided a good amount of edits. And just things that I thought were necessary to shift and protect the city and the commission. So pretty self-explanatory if you've read it through.
Yeah. I read it
It's
through. It seems very straightforward, and I think, as
very
you've
much
already
so.
pointed out,
And I think this now we're really requiring a lot more data from people. We want more information, which I think is really helpful and something that we need. So yeah.
okay. Yeah, I've read through it. It seems pretty straightforward and a good thing to have in place so we can have this to point back to, and for people who are seeking support from the commission, that we have a place to point them.
Could you
Does that?
repost
Yeah,
that?
go ahead, Steven.
Could you repost it? I don't think I saw it.
This is in the agenda thing that Sabrina sent.
It's in
the packet.
today's. Great. Okay, thanks.
Does anyone have any questions for Danny or Sabrina about this?
This is not well, perhaps it's a question. Do you think that, considering our total budget, that we might want to offer specific amounts of sponsorships, like
I think we can put caps on things, but ultimately, every year is going to be different. Each application is
Yeah.
going to be different. I think that's why we have a commission to go, this doesn't make sense for this much money here. This does make sense for this much money here. An event that's going to see 5,000 people versus an event that's going to see 20, how are we giving them
Yep.
the same funding
that's a good
for,
point. That's a
so
good
point.
I think it's a case by case basis.
I
And-
think I disagree. I think that if you can set it up so that it is a given amount, given our limited budget, right? If we just have a given amount per event that we're willing to contribute that matches what we can afford, then it takes away a lot of that subjectivity of each event, right? And
Yeah.
if you have to go through and analyze each one based on line item budgets, I think it's taking us down a road that we'll never approve anything.
I think I like the idea of there either being a cap, or at least I would think we need like different tiers, maybe based on the size.
Yeah,
Or
I
just a
agree with both of
catch-all.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve and Janae, I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
We have the
I think
capability
it's
of
a really good
saying,
point.
you know, we approve this, but not 5,000, for instance. And I think to Danny's point too, is as we start to grow these events and we have these applications in place, we now have a record of, you know, what we spent on what. And every time Sabrina has to go back to City Hall to ask for money, she can say, we did our own events here. We supported these events here. We want to match that and grow this, because I think there's only a certain percentage we can ask for every year above, you know, it's like some nominal amount, like 2% or something stupid. Even though Sabrina managed to land 10 grand this year, I don't know how she did it, but you know, so I think by having that record and having basically these data points, that we can start to show that, you know, the commission is doing their own. We're supporting these local companies or nonprofits or whatever it is to do theirs. This is how the arts are growing, and this is how we're supporting them. And having this in place helps. And I think having the ability to trim or whittle as you know, budgets allow or disallow different aspects. I mean, someone could ask in the June meeting and just use up the rest of our event budget and get really lucky. So, you know, I had a point and I totally lost the thread.
Yeah,
But,
listen, I sit on the board of a big foundation, and I can tell you that we get grants, you know, of all sizes, from $5,000 to $250,000, and we have put parameters in place, you know, in the past, and ultimately, you know, it just hasn't lined up with the objectives of the foundation. So I think we need to figure out what our objectives are, right? Like, are we trying to help as many people as we can, or are we trying to, you know, what's the point? But I think ultimately, you know, if we want to have guidelines, great. If we don't, you know, that's fine too. But we I don't think we can treat each organization like it's the same, because it's not. Right?
Yeah.
It's going to serve people very, very, very differently. So, you know, I like having a little bit of gray area there, and I like being commission members where we can, you know, express, you know, what we think is in the best interest of the citizens.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Danny. Thank you.
Okay. In that case, do we have a motion to approve this application / processes?
Yes, I'll motion to approve.
Well, I mean, we can motion to table it too if we were not ready. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? If we don't get a second, does that mean we don't vote on it?
I'd like to make a motion to table it. I would like to review.
Oh, okay. Hang on. The governmental
If there's
processes.
no second, then essentially it's tabled.
Okay. Oh, then it's just tabled. That's just the process is just tabled.
Just keep in mind, we're not going to be able to approve Kevin's event if this is tabled, or other events.
So I guess
Thank you, Danny.
Can I ask a question? Probably not, Brian.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
okay.
I mean, there's a motion on the floor, but sure, ask a question, whatever.
Well, the question is, it's about, I would second it with, I guess, the opportunity to continue to evolve it, or like add, if we want to come back to like adding caps or adding different things to it as we.
I mean, we can
grow.
We can always
amend it and vote on it.
Yeah. So I second it.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry,
so then
there's no discussion left. Because because I think it's extremely unfair to Kevin to have put out an application and then say we're still talking about
Where did Kevin even find this application?
It was posted in the minutes. I mean, I got an email about it. So, but totally understand that, like, it's a cart before the horse. So our organization could wait another month if we're going to have another meeting in January.
Okay. So there's a motion, there's a second, there is a vote on the floor. We of course can vote. We have free will. You can vote yay or nay. Yay or nay does not mean any. There's not a stone and a chisel here. There's movement. To Mark's point about Janae's question, we can amend. We can always change. We can also vote this down. You can vote nay, and doesn't mean we can never have this again. We can revise. We can also vote nay and call for a special meeting for this specifically, so we can give Kevin a fair shot. So lots
Also,
of
just
direct.
can I
Yeah.
jump in for a sec? The application that
please
Kevin
help
has is
me.
the exact one that's the exact application that Kevin has is what's in the package right now. It's the same
Yes.
thing.
But it was never voted on.
But we never voted as an official.
So Kevin is just going to
Process.
resubmit with a
unofficial.
more detailed budget at the next meeting. That's it.
And if
For what
we
it,
vote
for what
this
it's worth, I
down.
am super excited. I mean, listen, if anyone else is excited about amending application and contracts, jump in with me, please. Like, Steve, you know, you're like my superhero, man. So, like, if you want to add stuff, please do it. But, you know, I did the best I could with it, you know, and I think that it's my personal opinion, obviously, that I think we need something in place. We can amend it as we move forward, but to have, I'm always a fan of policy because policy protects
Yes.
the entity.
Because right now we have nothing, and basically that leaves us to the whim of, do we like this person or not?
Right.
Exactly.
It opens it up in a
Exactly.
way that doesn't make sense. So I think putting something in place is really useful. Again, we can always amend and shift and change, but you know, I run a college, so policy for me is always like at the top of the thing, right? Like let's protect the entity always.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a
There's
vote
a
on the
motion
floor,
on the
right?
there's a vote on the floor. Mark Allen to approve or not to approve this application process.
Yeah,
Mark Allen, how do you vote?
I'm going to vote aye. I think we need an application in place.
Thank you. Janae Sylvester.
Aye.
Thank you. Stephen Rust.
Aye.
Oh, I thought you were going to dissent. Danny Loftus George.
I don't know if I can vote if because I helped contribute to it, but if I can, then it is an aye.
I think you're allowed.
You could vote.
Nori Gruden.
I want I, but I also want to be able to amend it because I think there should
Yeah,
be
we
a
have that.
cap
We have that.
on. Yep.
Yeah,
I want
you can
because I
amend
think
whatever you want.
$5,000 is way too much money, especially when it's not
That's for next
bounded.
month.
Okay.
That's
All right.
And I also vote aye on this, and therefore the ayes carry. This is our process. Yes, we can always revisit anything. Right now, we could revisit our public art policy. We could all these things can be, as a commission, we have the power to vote on them. The public can bring up something we have never thought of before. So yes, all that is possible.
Can I make a motion that we address this in the next meeting?
No, because it's not on the agenda.
Jesus.
Yes.
And the next meeting. Next
We
month.
can, yes. You don't need a motion to bring
Because
some up
it's-
in an agenda. The next meeting. Yes.
Yes.
Or
Because
potentially,
it's quarter date.
yeah. And Steve, I think if you have specific feelings, maybe just check in with Danny and Sabrina,
Sure.
since they kind of put it together. If you see holes here, and we of course can continue to evolve this.
Sounds great.
Okay, it is 7:45. We have one last thing on the agenda, events recap, Night Fair and Throne Stone event. Sabrina, I feel like this has fallen on you. I know I unfortunately missed both of these events.
Yeah, I could go really
so-
fast just to get us out of here.
Yeah.
The night
Cool.
fair was an extreme success. We were able to put a huge banner up under the railroad bridge. It was completely covered with art by the end of it. We still have it. We're going to try to post it up in City Hall, but we have to go over it to make sure there isn't anything inappropriate on it before we put it up on the wall. But other than that, it was a really successful event. Everybody loved participating. Naomi was really amazing, making sure we kept our markers and making sure everybody had space to write. It was really exciting. So hopeful that we'll be able to do something like that again. But it was awesome, and all the kids loved it, and families were signing their names. It was amazing.
Right on.
On the Throne Stone front, again, super successful event. There were 145 registrants and about 85 people showed up.
I went.
I heard nothing but really great things about the event. I personally was not there. Anna was there in my stead. I know, Mark, you were also there if you want to add any comments, but all the feedback that I've gotten from it at this point has been really positive. So, Throne Stone was very grateful for our contribution, and everybody had a really amazing time.
Right on. Mark, anything to add?
I spoke for the Arts Commission at the end. I pulled a good staging move because I spoke from the aisle, and people weren't expecting that. So all of a sudden, people were like, "Who's talking? Who's talking?" And everybody turned around. And I was standing amongst the people. It was a good show business thing.
Awesome.
It was good. It was a good meeting. When I first walked in, the power had gone out on the building, and it turns out to be a blown breaker. So everybody was like freaking out, coming to me saying, "What can you do?" And somebody found the breaker and flipped it, but they all thought that I somehow did something. So that was
you did. You saved the day. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a good event. I mean,
cool.
I had hoped there would be more people there, quite frankly, but it was a really nice event, and I thought it was really well done.
I just want to say, Sabrina, the night fair was unbelievable. I was just so proud to be a Norwalk resident. I think you guys did such a great job. So congratulations there.
Thank you so much.
Love those sparks.
Adjournment. Do we have an motion to adjourn? Mark, I don't want to hear from you.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Aye.
Thank you, Nori. Brian Kessler, vote aye. Mark Allen.
Nay.
Janae Sylvester.
Aye.
Stephen Russ.
Aye.
Danny Loftus-George.
Aye.
And Nori Gurdon.
Aye.
Watch the nays carry one of these days. All right. See you all next
Happy
month
holidays.
or
See you
offline.
later. Happy holidays.
Happy
holidays.